adultery is fixed.
Yes.
What is that? Because that according to from what I see of your
Yeah.
own understanding,
Yeah.
that is Allah fixing evil to a person.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
By the
Okay.
way, it adds that a man cannot escape.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Because you're forgetting the other type of will that we affirm, which is the legislative will.
So whatever.
So we agree. Allah fixed everything, our good deeds and bad deeds. But
So then
did
what are
God,
you judged for?
right, we are judged for what we've been legislated. There you go. So you're not accountable where you're born, which country you're born. That's Allah fixed that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not hold you accountable for things that's not related to no. You asked me the question. So let me answer. Let me answer. I know, but we in Islam we have more nuance than yours. Yours is more simplistic. So in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed and fixed everything. But we divide, there's a legislative will that God told us to do good and stay away from evil. That's what will be held accountable. But what Allah will not hold us accountable are things that is not within our control. For example, where you're born, what ethnicity you come from.
Adultery within our
Wait,
control.
one sec. Yes, exactly. So adultery, I know. I'll get to that. In terms of adultery, yes, God, because God allowed for adultery to happen, right? He fixed it, but he didn't legislate the humans to commit adultery.
Okay, what's the difference between fixing and legislation?
Fixing the legislation. No, God fixed everything from his legislation and universe-related rule.
Okay, so there's no difference between fixing and legislation.
No, there is a difference.
Okay, so what is
God,
the difference?
Okay, the difference is God fixed all of our actions, whether it's good or bad
How
actions.
can we be judged for that then?
Okay, you'll only be judged for the things that you've been told to do or not to do. That's the legislative will.
So if a Muslim, someone who's following,
did
let me
commit-
finish.
okay, good,
If
good,
a
good.
Muslim is following Islam
Yes,
and they commit adultery,
yes.
what does that happen?
Good.
Like what happens when it turns into? Will Allah say no? According to the Hadith,
Yeah.
in which the Prophet said that adultery has been fixed to a man and they cannot escape it.
Yeah.
You're not going to be judged for that. You'll be judged for something else because I take it in Islam, adultery is a sin.
Yeah.
And you're commanded not to do
Yeah.
that. Yet you are
Yeah.
fixed to do it.
Yeah, but you fail to understand the distinction. That's what I'm saying. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislated the humans not to commit adultery. But because wait one second. But because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had prior knowledge and he pre-written and that he created, right? He knew and he decreed this will happen. But that does not mean that the human who committed adultery is immune from responsibility because he's conscious that Allah legislated him, commanded him not to commit adultery. But Allah already fixed it because he knew from his prior knowledge and he willed and he permitted for that to happen. And that he pre-written 50,000 years before the creation of the heavens and the earth.
Okay.
So you'll only be accountable for the things that has been legislated on you. You will not be accountable for the things that is not within your control. For example, natural disasters or where you're born.
So go back to this. So go back to this Muslim that's now standing in judgment in front of Allah.
Yes,
He's committed adultery.
yes.
When
No
is-
excuse, no excuse.
No
Because the person would say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala command me to not to commit adultery and I did it.
But why can't
The justice will
but why
prevail.
can't the person say, Allah, your prophet said that you fixed adultery to me? Is that not a case
No.
you can make?
Okay, the reason why, because you know that you are conscious of committing adultery when it was materialized.
What can conscious
So
man
therefore,
do against the fixing
right,
of
hang
Allah?
on. Would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hold you accountable for actions, that you haven't done?
Yes, he would. Yes, he would.
No, from your perspective, not from Allah's perspective, from your perspective. Would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hold you accountable,
Yes, he would.
for the things that you haven't done yet, from our perspective? If I haven't committed adultery yet, Allah will not hold you accountable at that point.
No, but that doesn't
Allah
matter.
will
That
hold
doesn't
you
matter. That
accountable
doesn't matter
at the
because-
point
that
of
doesn't
the
matter.
adultery being
Wait, that doesn't
action.
matter because if his knowledge is infinite,
Yes.
that means, and you're saying is not, and that is fixed.
Right.
Before time has occurred, to Allah you have sinned. Yes.
In his perspective, yes.
You've
Yes.
sinned. There's no escape for you.
No, but are you conscious you committed sin?
Why does your consciousness matter?
Okay, so are you saying? Oh wait,
It
hang
doesn't
on.
matter 'cause
So at the time when you were born, did you know that you're going to commit adultery?
That doesn't matter. Though.
No, it does matter.
It doesn't.
Because look, this is why you have to look at the two sides of the coin. From Allah,
Who is the judge?
Wait,
I'm not the one
Allah
that's
is the
getting
judge.
judged.
Look,
Right.
from Allah's perspective, He already knows you're going to do this. But from the human perspective, you don't know you're going to do this. But you only know you're going to do this until you have done it.
Okay.
That's why you'll be
So
accountable.
you've got knowledge, but then we've also got fixed
Knowledge of who?
No. You're using the knowledge of Allah.
Real quick. That hadith about him saying that Allah
Doesn't
will never
that mean
judge
that
you
Allah
for
has
having
knowledge
done
of what we're doing and he's
Yeah, of course.
decreeing what
Yeah,
we're
of course.
doing?
What's it? Sahih Muslim.
But-
So that's what Sahih Muslim
Decree
2662.
meaning
Aisha,
decree
the mother of
in
the
relation
Prophet,
to the
said that Allah's
universal
messenger
will,
was
not
called to lead
legislative.
the
He
funeral
didn't
prayer
tell
of
you
a
to
child.
do
Okay, I
evil.
know.
Yeah, but He allowed it.
Allah's
Right.
messenger. Wait, hold on. So according to your
Okay, go on,
perspective,
go on.
Allah's messenger.
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
There is happiness for this child who is a bird from the birds of paradise, who committed no sin nor has reached the age when one can commit sin. He said, Aisha, peradventure, it may be otherwise, because God created for paradise those who are fit for it, while they are yet in their father's loins, and created for hell those who are to go to hell. He created them for hell while they were yet in their father's loins.
Okay.
That actually is more, that's in line with the fixing of adultery.
But how do you understand the term fixed here? I'll give you another hadith.
No.
There was a companion. There was a companion who asked the Prophet, "O Messenger of Allah, if Allah already knew we're going to do this action, should I carry on doing deeds?" And the Prophet, peace be upon him, yes, carry on doing good deeds. Because if Allah has decreed for your actions that will take you to paradise, He will lead you to committing good deeds.
But he
And if
also-
and if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed you for you to go to hell, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will point you to actions that will take you to hell. So we are compatibilists. Wait, one second.
Okay, hold on. I need to understand that. Even according to that hadith now,
Yes.
there are people within their father's loins, no choice now, that are decreed to go to hell. How can
No choice. Who told you that?
in their father's loins?
No. Again, we
No,
are.
sorry. No, hold on. Someone in their father's loins has choice. Is that what you're saying?
At the point
Answer
of
my question.
no, at the point of responsibility.
Does someone in the loins have choice? Yes or no?
Right, choice. What do you mean by choice here?
Bro.
No, I need you to clarify. What do you mean by choice?
Bro,
Because humans are not. Wait, one
There's
second.
a child in someone's
Right,
room.
look,
in their,
look.
Not even
You have no.
They
Wait,
said
one
the
second.
father's
One second.
loins,
One
so
second.
it's still
One
the
second.
sperm, bro.
One second. Choice here.
Yeah.
We believe that you'll only be accountable at the age of accountability.
But
Okay.
you just said
If you die before
Muhammad
before
just said differently. That hadith said
what
differently.
fixed here meaning in terms of the decree from the universal related will. That God knows this will happen. Not that God said, I allowed for adultery to take place and therefore I fixed it. He didn't say
God
that.
created for paradise
Yes.
those who are fit for it
Yes.
while they were yet in their father's loins, and created for hell those
Yes.
who are to go to hell.
Yes. And that's regarding
That's people, bro.
no universe related will. You don't know the distinction, my brother. You don't know the distinction. This is why if you're going to challenge on Islamic theology, you first have to understand our position.
But you're
Wait,
not-
no, one
but
second,
there's
one
no-
second, one
Listen,
second.
You're not giving a clear hold on.
I have. No. This shows to me. This shows to me that you're not sincere. Because I've already told you. I've already said we acknowledge that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has two different types of will. Irada Shar'iyya. You're not letting me complete.
What you've said about
Am I allowed to solidify my position first?
No, I do understand your position. What I'm trying
No, you're not, because clearly you're straw manning. Because you're coming from your paradigm. Remember, you're doing internal critique. So you have to engage in my paradigm, not from your paradigm.
Yeah,
What is my paradigm regarding Qadr?
You're saying that there is a universal decreed will,
Which is what?
which is well, according to these hadith,
No. I want you to tell me the general definition.
that God wills for us to do good.
No. Who told you that? See, you haven't understood a single word. That's why I'm wasting my time.
Okay, go on.
That's why I'm wasting my time.
Okay, go on. Go again.
Okay, we believe in two different types of will. The first is his legislative will. Allah commanded for the humans to do good and stay away from evil. Meaning,
Did I say
wait.
anything different?
No, you have.
I said that.
I'll tell you why.
The first one was that Allah wills for people to do good.
Oh my days.
That was the first one. You just said.
I'm being it's general. I'm giving you specific definition, not the general definition. I'm giving you a specific definition.
Okay.
There's a legislative will, meaning whatever Allah legislated us, that is what we're going to be accountable. Okay? For example, Allah legislated us in the Qur'an and the Sunnah to worship none but Him. Don't associate partners with Him. Be good to your parents. Stay away from adultery. That is what we'll be accountable for.
Stay away or don't commit.
Stay away from adultery.
Stay away or don't commit.
Okay, yeah, are you playing semantics now?
I think it's quite important.
You know what? You're such a waste of time, man. You know what? Honestly, if you're going to play semantics with me, then I'm not going to waste my time.
No, but stay away
you know,
gives
you
you
know-
room to say that.
Sorry. I don't talk to people who play semantics. I don't. Okay. Now you haven't understood our paradigm, and yet you want to challenge. Sorry, you're doing internal critique, and if you know what internal critique, I'm sorry, Vince. I'm very nice with you. Yeah. But you know, certain people, if you say that I fail to understand, please explain. I have respect for you. But the fact that you still going on and still strawmanning my position, that shows you're not sincere. And as a humble individual, as an intellectual individual, didn't I say, you asked me a question about abrogated verses. What did I say? I don't know. I'm humble enough to say, in that particular question, I don't know. Let me do my research. I gave the answer to him. Whether he's satisfied or not, that's up to him. Agree?
Yeah.
So you have to have intellectual honesty. If you don't know certain things, say, I don't know, could you please explain? And if you ask me certain questions that I don't know about my own religion, I'm not going to misinform you, because I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hold me accountable. Why did you misguide, what's your name again? Wes. Why did you misguide Wes with false information? Because of you.
Fix what you should
Yes.
misguide
If that is the case, yes, exactly. Right,
fix what
right,
you should
exactly.
misguide, right?
So next
So
time.
what you will say to Allah is,
I'll
what
tell you
you
what.
fix that I should misguide.
I'll tell you what. I'll have a discussion.
sorry.
No problem. Wes, I'll have a discussion with you next week. I'm here every Sunday, if Allah wills, right? And what I want you to do, I really want you to study Qadr in Islam, and then first understand our position, then challenge our position. Do you agree with that? Shake my hands.
I can shake your hand to say that
Very
I
good.
enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you,
but
Wes.
I don't
Thank
know
you.
if I'm going to study on your.
Okay, then don't challenge then. If you don't know our position, don't study.
You came into our conversation.
This is Speaker's Corner, my friend.
So then why are you telling me I should challenge when you came here?
You got your Christian brother here behind.
No, you came here to my conversation.
Right. And did you tell me?
Raihan,
Don't interrupt.
Raihan,
You can't now tell me I should
that's a fair
challenge.
point.
You came into this conversation.
But it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, but it's okay for you. It's okay for you. It's okay for you to interrupt support, isn't it? Yeah, it's okay for you to interrupt support. What? Double standards.
How is that double standard?
Do you feel, did I heckle or did I interrupt the conversation?
But he's right. That there was
Okay.
an ongoing conversation.
Okay, then I apologize. Okay, then I apologize.
Shake hands.
Thank you. Okay, then I apologize. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to study Qadr, know our position, know our Islamic position, and if you have any problem, any questions, come back to me.
Okay, I have to.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I'll do what I can.
But your
Thank
issue-
you.
Thank you much.
Raihan, I am on the counter. Come over here.
But
Come over
your
here.
issue as well is on the predestination.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to.
David, learn your own religion, man.
Raihan,
Come,
what's
learn your,
Allah judging you against?
learn your own religion.
Raihan, what is Allah judging you
I already
against?
answered the question.
You haven't-
over there.
Oh, sorry. Whose is it? Whose is it?
What does Allah judge you against?
I don't know who the mics are.
Raihan,
I'm gonna have a conversation with you about that one as well.
Oh yeah, no problem. No problem. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Whose mics are those?
I don't see the term.
Okay, I'm gonna put it on the floor or something.
Because from your hadith, it's arbitrary.
Someone take the mics. I'm not responsible for those mics. Where are the labels? Come on.
Anyway, for the sake of
Otherwise,
the
I'm gonna
cameras, I
get
just
blamed.
want to read the two hadiths.
Okay.
You can't find someone.
Yours, put them somewhere, man.
Okay, don't worry. I'll take them with me. And yeah. Wes?
Get over here.
Oh, thank you.
What does
Thank you very
Allah
much.
judge you against?
All right. So, okay. So I'll have a discussion with you next week. Yeah.
Why? You're gonna want to
Do you
study?
have any questions? Come to me.
What
I got questions.
About Qadr.
about Qadr?
I got questions.
So I have to go do research about that.
Yeah, because you're not our paradigm.
Yeah,
You're
I
our
do.
position.
But I try to understand it.
No, you
I'm
might
asking you questions.
You might misunderstood, but you didn't know the distinction.
You don't know.
So
So come back. Exactly.
You can't-
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
Wait,
Thank you.
If we
Thank
don't
you.
know, we'll say we don't know.
Exactly. Thank you. Vince knows I'm that type of individual. I will not deliberately win an argument for the sake of misinformation. I will never do that. I'll never do that. You understand? Come back next week, Wes. Not look into legislative will, universal relative will, because our position is compatibilist. We're not hard determinist, and we're neither libertarian. We're in between.
You're a hard
A hybrid.
Yes.
No, you're not.
But you can't distinguish between where the
That-
hybrid lies.
So that's why.
That's what I'm trying to
Okay,
get
then
to.
look into next week. Look
No,
into.
no. If
No, no.
you're just admitting
One
that you
second.
cannot actually distinguish
Yeah.
between these two different frameworks.
No, I have.
How
I have.
you have.
I
So
have.
what's the answer? So then tell us.
Okay, let me give you the answer. When it comes to Qadr, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, one of the great scholars, in his book, he says that Qadr is one of the secrets of Allah. So I can't give you.
Appeal
So,
to
so,
mystery.
so wait, one
Appeal
second.
to
One
mystery.
second.
I
One
love
second.
this.
One second.
I love this.
No.
A mystery that's revealed once you're in the church, but you guys never know what kind of means.
That applies the same with Allah's attributes. Yeah. Wait,
Oh,
one
yeah,
second.
absolutely,
One second.
absolutely.
That goes the same with Allah's attributes and names. Yeah. We affirm all of Allah's names and attributes that He revealed in the Quran
You're dodging.
and from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, in the real sense. But we don't go into the modality or howness. That's up to Allah.
So in other words, you don't know.
No, not that we don't know. We have given the knowledge that God has given us. But do we have complete knowledge? Absolutely not.
So you don't
Absolutely
know. You don't know that hybrid.
No, no, you
that-
have to qualify.
Wait, hold on,
hang on, hang on.
wait. That
You have
that
to-
that
yeah,
system
no,
that you
see,
just said.
you see, Wes. You see. Okay, go on, man.
That
Go on,
system
go
that
on.
you just said.
Yeah.
You are saying that it's a hybrid, but you don't actually know
what the hybrid is.
exactly. You don't know what that is. So
Okay,
in other
do you know
words,
what- do you know what I'm
wait,
saying?
wait,
Okay,
wait, wait. So in
okay,
other words,
okay.
for these situations
Good,
like
good.
adultery, for murder, for lying,
Yeah.
you actually don't know if it's your free will, so the libertarian side, or if it's been fixed by Allah Himself.
No,
you
no,
don't
no.
know for all situations.
No, you misunderstood.
Because you said there's a hybrid that you can't. You can't.
Wait. No,
That's
you
what I was.
misunderstood.
That's why I was asking
No,
questions.
no. You misunderstood, Wes. What I'm not claiming is I know
You said it
how.
was a mystery.
Can you? What I never claimed that I know how the decree of God works. What I'm explaining to you is these are amongst the secrets of God, and I
So
just
you're
explain.
appealing to
Wait, one second.
mystery.
One second. Just because I don't know how it operates, does that mean there is a logical contradiction?
Yes.
How much
Shall I
do you?
tell you what? Shall I tell you what?
Let
Shall I tell you- no, I'll tell you- I'll tell you
me
what.
give an example. Let me give an example.
Okay.
So, how much do you know about your soul, the reality of soul? How much do you know?
How much do I know about it?
Do you believe soul exists?
Yes.
How much do you know about your soul?
You can only know so much.
You can only know so much. That's what I'm trying to say. So I never said we have complete knowledge because Allah is Al-Ali. Allah is all-knowing. But we only know what God and His Messenger told us. That's all we know.
Okay. I can,
Does
so,
that make
okay,
sense,
so,
everyone?
So with the soul, I can say I know where it originates from. I know what it's accountable to. I know what
How it works,
automates.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah. How it so in other words, the material itself or how, and all of that stuff, I may not know. So the mechanics of it,
Yeah.
I may not know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know what it's accountable for. I know all
Yes,
these
yes.
things from
You
the
got it.
text.
You got it now.
Right.
You got it.
Now, from the text,
Yeah.
you have said that there are two wills of Allah in
Yes.
which there's a hybrid, right?
Yes.
But you are
Of our actions.
you are saying
deeds,
you
yeah.
do not know how those wills work,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
But if you don't know how those wills work, you also don't know how the hybrid works too.
Yeah. And I'm
Right.
conceding.
So if you don't know how the hybrid works too,
Yeah.
you will not be able to distinguish between whether this is the libertarian will of God
Yeah.
or the fixed will of God. So with your sin, you
Yeah.
won't know if this is fixed by Allah or it's your free will.
No, I affirm both.
Huh?
I affirm both.
Yeah, you would have to firm both.
Now you
Wait,
have to
hold on.
you have to demonstrate
Hold
why
on.
is that a
No,
contradiction.
what I'm saying is you would have to firm both out.
How
wait,
do-
let me
wait,
finish.
wait,
man.
no,
Let
no,
me
wait,
fin-
I understand
let
your
me
position.
finish.
Okay,
You would
go on,
have to
go on.
firm both out of your safety because you know that if it's the free will one, you'll be punished for that. But if it's the fixed one, you won't be. So for the sake of your own safety, you would have to say, I actually need to acknowledge that I'm just going to take it all as free will. But you said it's a hybrid, which you actually don't understand. So well and truly,
I can see that.
Let me say, well and truly, as you live your life, you do not know which sins are accountable to your
No,
soul.
with the greatest respect, I think you oversimplified our theology. I said that we have a
You
new.
said it was a mystery.
David, are you going to shut up
You
for a
claimed
second?
it was a mystery.
Shut up.
So how can
Shut
you
up.
claim you
Shut up.
simplified it?
Shut up.
Raihan, go
Shut up,
boy.
Shut up, David.
You
Shut
can't
up.
breathe now.
Now, Wes.
Alright, cool.
With the greatest of respect,
Did you understand my
I
question?
understand your point. I think you've oversimplified our position.
But if you said
This-
it-
no. We have a nuance. We have nuance in our belief in the decree of
Tell
God.
it to
Yeah?
us then, Mr. Mystery Man.
Right? What we're saying is that the legislative will of God, that God wished for us to do, that is what we're going to be accountable for. God will not held us accountable for the things that is not related to our actions. For example, we're not accountable where we're.
Fixes the action.
Oh my goodness me.
The action.
For example, God will not hold us accountable to where you're born. We don't believe in caste system. Okay, wait one second. We're not accountable for the natural disasters.
Okay.
We're not accountable for where we're born,
Okay.
where we're gonna die, or who our parents are. That's not what we're going to be accountable for.
Are you
What we-
accountable for adultery?
Yes. Then that's God already legislated us do not commit adultery. So
But
that's
then,
what.
but then if he's fixed that, you just said if he's fixed it to us,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You are acknowledging that, in other words, a man committing adultery is the same as a tornado striking a city. According to Allah's will, his decreed will.
Yeah, but accountability.
Right.
The natural disasters you're not going to be accountable for.
Pardon?
Having cancer, for example. Okay, like Dr. Big, right? Having cancer, you're not going to be accountable for that.
No, but they're still,
But
they're
when you-
still
but-
within the bucket
wait,
of Allah's
yes,
decreed
yes,
will.
yes.
So they're
What I'm saying-
fixed.
yes, that's the general. He fixed both his legislative and universe related.
So
will.
what is the-
But what we're going to be accountable for is what God told us to do, and not what to do.
But if
I
no
think it's
one
very simple.
No, but if no one is accountable for the tornado,
Yeah.
right? How can and the tornado is in the same camp as the adultery? Who can be accountable for the adultery, or who can be accountable for that adultery when it's been decreed by Allah, just like the tornado has been
Yeah, but
decreed
again,
by Allah?
again, when you use the term fixed, I'm saying both his legislative will and universe related will. But what you're not going to be accountable for are the things that you're not accountable. For example, you're not
No, you're
accountable.
going to be accountable for the things you're not accountable.
Yeah, you're not going to be accountable for the things that is not within your will. You didn't have a choice where you're born, right?
Will.
Yes. No, you didn't have a choice. You didn't have a choice where you're born.
But-
Where you from? You're from
No, but the
Africa,
thing
right?
is, but
God, wait, hang on. God decreed and fixed that you're going to be born in a particular country. That is not within your choice. That's not what you're going to be accountable for.
I'm not.
What
It's,
you're-
not it's
what-
not my fault for the tornado, right?
Yes, correct.
My free will is not there with the tornado,
Yes,
right?
yes.
My free will, according to the text, is not there with adultery too, because that's fixed.
No, no,
because
no.
it's under that.
No, no,
it's
no.
under the bucket of that decreed will.
Again. When I'm going to say it once again. When you say fixed, we affirm God fixed both his legislative will and his universe-related will. But you're still accountable for the choices that God has given you, good or evil. But what you'll not be accountable for are the things that you didn't have a choice. For example, you didn't have a choice where you're born. You didn't have a choice
Is
with
there
your
a sin we
parents.
don't have a choice for?
Sorry?
Is there a sin that we don't have a choice for?
Is there a sin that you didn't have a choice for?
Because the whole point of
No,
this is
no,
sin.
no.
Right.
That hadith is talking about universe-related will.
But it's sin though.
I
Adultery
know,
is
I
sin.
know. So from the human,
So in other words,
right?
sin. So in
That-
other words, you've
right,
got to
right.
include that in that universal will,
Yes.
sin occurs.
Yes, I agree.
So that means that sin
Yeah.
cannot be accountable to anybody, just like the tornado is not accountable to
No.
anybody.
The sin. This hadith, when he talks about the fixed decree, is not saying that your action is not accountable. God fixed your adultery because He knew, but you're not. But you're still going to be accountable because God has legislated you not to commit adultery.
But-
That's what the hadith is
But
saying.
if you give a slide, I guess, to nature in the sense that tornadoes are unaccountable to anybody and they're under this will, right? You unfortunately you equate sin to natural disasters.
I didn't say natural disaster is sin.
No, I think you equate it in the sense that it's under that universal decree.
No, I don't see natural disaster as a sin in the first place, because a sin by definition means going or transgressing or going against the commandments of God.
But
Okay, so in terms of the human, I've been legislated by Allah and His Messenger, stay away from, don't commit adultery.
But you've also
That
been
is what-
but you've also been commanded and legislated by Allah to do this certain amount of sin.
No, who told you that? Give me evidence.
Abu Hurairah reported Allah's messenger is saying, Allah fixed the very portion of adultery which a man will indulge in. There would be no escape from it.
Where did
No,
you say he wished it?
Huh?
Where did you say he desired? Where did you say he commanded us to do it?
Fixed.
Fixed.
That's what I'm saying.
I need to mention
Thank you.
It says
No,
fixed.
wait.
God
Don't,
knows.
don't,
God
please don't.
knows us.
And there will be, on top of that,
Wait,
I
also,
jump in as
so
well.
on top of that, on top of that, it says, there will be no escape from that. In
I
other
agree,
words,
I
your
agree.
free will is mute.
I agree. But where does the hadith say that he commanded us to do adultery? Give me the evidence in the hadith. Where
Because it doesn't say the word command.
Thank you.
Yo,
That's the whole point.
So what is the difference between? Tell me the difference between command and fix.
No,
God knows us better than we know ourselves.
No, this doesn't say no. This doesn't say use the word no.
Wes.
No. If you're gonna play that game, hold on, wait.
I'm not here to play games.
Okay, fair. Okay, then
By Allah, I'm not here to
in
play
that
games.
case, I don't know why you're asking for an exact word.
Right.
Because it says fix.
Because you
It doesn't say no.
Again, I think what you're committing is oversimplification. Because I didn't say fixed is only in regards to the sin. I'm saying fixed in regards to both his legislative will and universe related will.
They were both fixed.
Where does
Both
it,
is
where
fixed.
does it say that?
Okay, you're
Where does it
basically
say fixed
right,
will?
No, you're saying that God
Where-
fixed.
Can't know the
God,
concept of Qadr just by looking at one
yeah,
hadith.
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. You
but
have to
people-
understand.
one
This is
second,
what I'm saying.
one second,
Wes,
one second.
that's what I'm saying. Wes, come back. Look into
So,
Qadr. Look into
here's
Qadr.
where Raihan
Is
has
he- is he
failed.
your spokesman?
Raihan said,
Is he your spokesperson?
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair
okay,
enough.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Raihan
Okay,
has said-
okay.
Raihan has said that both the universal and legislative will
right.
are both fixed. Here, if
yeah.
this is the universal claims that every man must commit a degree of
No,
adultery.
where does it say that? Where did it say that?
It says it's fixed.
Did he
Ev-
say command?
Has fixed the value.
I agree,
so what's
Wes.
the difference between
Hold
fixed
on.
and command?
Wait,
Oh my days.
Let me finish.
I think he fails to understand.
So, it says
Can I repeat
every
again?
man
Fixed.
must
God
commit
fixed
a degree of adultery.
everything.
And
Whether
they cannot escape
legis.
it. Now, the legislation
let him do
says
that,
that
let him.
adultery is haram, and that's also fixed. So Allah is
Okay.
both making adultery haram,
He's ha-
but
Thank
making
you,
a man
thank you.
commit adultery,
Thank you,
which
thank you.
is haram.
Thank you.
So
Wait,
you
wait,
have
wait.
no choice in the
See,
matter.
he's helping me out. He's
Yes,
helping me out.
because
now,
Allah
I'll tell you why.
arbitrarily
I'll tell you why, Wes.
sends you to hell
I'll tell you why.
for
Wes,
things
Wes,
that you cannot control,
Wes. If I,
because He has
Wes,
fixed your
Wes,
adultery and fixed the fact that adultery is wrong.
Wes. I think you again. I think you've oversimplified the matter. My position
You
is
still
this.
the mystery.
I.
So
you said.
oversimplified it.
Is anyone gonna? Sorry. I said. I never said that fixed is only in regards to the legislative will. I'm saying God fixed everything, whether it's legislation and His universal religion.
Ask you a question.
Now, you have to provide me evidence in that hadith where God legislated us to do adultery.
Okay. What I'm going to do is to do that. I'm going to ask you a question. Those two wills,
Yes.
is one will stronger than the other?
What kind of question is that?
Oh, are these two wills equal?
Literally.
Yes.
So Allah has two wills.
No, types of
Go round.
types of wills.
The
Distinction.
effects of these wills.
Okay, when you say wait, hang on. When you say Jesus had two natures, is it composed or is it distinction?
There's a distinction. Yeah.
Right, so it's the same.
So these two,
It's distinct.
they're distinct.
Doesn't mean two separate
You know,
wills.
but these
Who
two,
said that?
these two distinct wills of Allah.
Yes.
Right. One of them is universal legislation.
No, not universal legislation. I said no. There's two categories. Legislative will, what God commands us to do and stay away from. That is what we'll be accountable for. Universe related will, God permits everything, whether He's pleased or not pleased with.
Which one does the fixing happen in?
Both. There you go. Thank you.
Then you
Thank
can't escape sin.
Khalas, because this
You can't
whole
escape
time,
sin.
because this
If
whole
the
time,
fixing,
wait,
if
hang
the
on.
fixing, wait, okay. If
I'm
the
just
fixing-
still making your argument.
No, hold
I'm
on.
still
Let
making
me
your argument.
reiterate one more
Okay,
time.
okay.
If the fixing happens in both
Yeah.
the free will in which He commands you to do something and you can disobey it, and also in the will in which you cannot escape it, or whatever happens.
And what does that
There's
fall
no
under?
difference between these two
No,
wills.
there is a difference because you understood the difference between universe will and legislation.
Bro.
You're implicitly agreeing that there is a distinction.
I'm not.
When you're saying
I'm
that,
saying when you
when
the reason why I
when
asked
the
you
hadith when the hadith says you cannot escape from it, it's talking about from His universe related will. That's what I'm talking about.
so that means
Whether-
so sin enters the universal related will.
Yes.
So
Correct.
If sin
You got it now.
enters the universal related will.
Yes. Then that's what.
In other, then your free will has there's no potency to your free will. It's in the adultery is the same as the hurricane.
No, it's not.
You put it in the same camp.
Prove to me the equivocation. You have to demonstrate now.
How? What? I've
No, demonstrate it. I want you to demonstrate. Demonstrate the equivocation. The onus is on you now. You make the claim, you demonstrate.
Tell him.
Allah fixes things. Yes.
In what?
The possibility.
Let's see if you're listening. Allah fixed in what things?
If Allah says that so and so will happen, so and so will happen. Right?
No. I want you to be specific. What did he fix?
The point, Raihan. The point of what I'm saying.
No. I want you to understand our paradigm.
Yeah.
And
what
you
I'm
fail
saying,
to understand
what
our
I'm trying to
paradigm.
say is your paradigm doesn't make sense because there's nothing that distinguishes between the two wills. Because you put sin, you have admitted that sin is under the same will in which hurricanes occur.
That's in line with Allah's will. What's the contradiction?
So if sin,
What's the contradiction?
so if sin occurs under,
Guys,
You're
let me finish.
Carry on.
If sin occurs under the will in which hurricanes occur.
No. Who told you that? Adultery. No, I didn't say that. Who told you that?
Didn't he say earlier that sin occurs in the same camp in which hurricanes occur?
No. Who told you that? No. Who
You just
told
said that.
No, I didn't.
You just agreed to that.
Did I say that?
This guy
Did I
was
say
saying
that?
for me.
No.
When Allah fixes this,
One second.
Wait,
That goes against.
that-
Wait.
can I just
Commit.
really say-
Sorry. Can I make it very simple? Committing adultery goes against his legislative will. Natural disasters is within his universal will.
what I'm trying to say is legislative will is not potent, has no power.
Prove it.
It doesn't.
Prove it.
It doesn't because people go against it.
Prove it.
Because people go against it.
Prove it.
Do people not disobey Allah?
Yes.
Right. So that will doesn't
Who-
force
now-
anyone to do anything,
Hang
right?
on. And who said forcing?
Because if it's fixed,
Yeah.
you cannot escape,
Yes,
your
yeah.
free will is gone.
Yes. But then no. Wait.
Right.
Hang
So
on.
that's sin. So that
Go on.
adultery,
Go on.
that adultery doesn't go into the free will,
yeah.
the free will Allah's will.
yeah.
It goes into the fixed Allah's
So,
will.
okay.
Where hurricanes, where natural disasters, where tornadoes occur.
So you're saying. So
there's no choice there for the man.
So you completely negate the decree of God.
What from your from
No.
from your theology or from
Yeah,
your
yeah,
worldview,
yeah.
I'm saying that the distinction between those two wills,
Yeah.
there's no real distinction there.
Okay.
You can't say that there's no two wills.
Are we Muslims? Are we Muslims conscious that Allah told us not to commit adultery? Yes or no?
Doesn't matter.
No,
That's what I'm trying to say.
don't say you don't matter because
I'm saying it doesn't matter according to
no,
what
no,
according to what we've explained.
Where's the fact that Allah has told us not to commit adultery? That is what we're going to be held accountable. Allah fixed everything, whether our good or bad actions. It doesn't contradict our free will. You have to demonstrate that.
Because if you are saying that Allah can fix an evil that someone can
Not Allah can fix. Allah fixed.
so not Allah can fix, He fixes.
No, Allah fixed everything. His legislative will and His universe-related will. You have to prove to me that adultery falls under the category as natural disasters.
Because Allah fixed the very portion of adultery which a man will indulge.
Don't
in.
read from the hadith.
Hold
The
on.
hadith is not going to help you. I want you to
Why can't I? What do you mean?
I want
I'm
you.
demonstrating it.
No.
You have to allow him. You have to allow him to give his.
I already
you have-
interpreted
you
the
have
hadith.
to- No, but you have to allow him to give his
Okay,
explanation.
There would be no escape from
He
it.
can't give his explanation from a hadith.
Let him.
He's not a scholar.
Let him. We're not going by your
Whoa.
methods.
We're not going by his methods as well.
But no. You're
So
not
there's
going.
no conversation.
Okay,
One second.
Go on.
You cannot explain this hadith, brother. You don't understand this hadith.
Yes.
You're not a scholar.
You're not a scholar.
You can't put your own perspective on the hadith.
Yes.
Oh, so that's it.
Mashallah.
It's mute
Barakallah
point.
What do you mean? What? It's
You're
like-
absolutely
I
correct.
can't come
He's
and-
absolutely correct.
I can't
So
put
why don't you say at the beginning, Tomini? Also, not where stop reading. That's it. It's the end.
If I don't know anything about
Because
the
you're
Bible,
insisting.
One second. If I don't know anything about the Bible, can I put my perspective on the Bible?
He's insisting. That's why.
That's how you guys say that Jesus is not good. You all the
But
time.
he's insisting.
Yeah, but
Come
this
on, man.
hadith, this hadith was the debate.
Did you know?
What do you
Did you
even
know
say
when
in
it says you cannot escape from it? Did you know how we understand that understanding?
You haven't said. Okay, how do you understand? How do you understand that? Tom?
I've already said it. This is talking about His universe-related will, that God permits everything, whether bad or good, will happen. Okay?
So you can't
But
escape the
where-
bad. Say you cannot escape the bad.
We cannot escape from the bad. But does
that means a man
one second,
on the
one
world
second,
cannot escape from
one
sin.
second, one second. But does that mean that God told us to do evil? Is he telling us to do adultery? What he's talking about is universe-related will, that God fixed it, this person would do adultery. But is he saying, because he's going to commit adultery, I'm still going to take him to hellfire because I didn't tell him not to commit, because I didn't tell him to commit adultery. That's why, as the Prophet said correctly, may Allah bless you, you cannot base on one hadith.
I'll tell you what it sounds like.
You cannot base on one
I'll tell you what it
hadith.
sounds like to me. It sounds like someone has a child that they put on the top of the slide, and they say, "Don't slide down that slide," and then he pushes him down the slide.
No, he doesn't.
Whose fault is it?
Sorry, hang on.
That's what it sounds like.
Wait.
That's what it sounds like.
Wait.
You put him on the top of the slide. You say to the child, "Don't you dare slide down that slide," and then you push him down the slide. Is that 10 times?
Okay, we get that.
So whose fault is that?
That hear you, right? You understand that one,
Okay, God is okay. We're not pushing the child. That's what you don't want to understand.
Exactly.
God is saying don't slide down, but He's not pushing us to slide
Exactly.
down. That's
But
what
he
you don't
wrote
understand.
it down. He fixed it.
Did he tell us to push it?
Yeah, he told the child.
No, you
Yeah,
didn't.
in
No,
the analogy.
no. Tell me the hadith. No.
I tell the
No,
child,
no.
don't go
Tell-
down the
no,
slide.
in
Then
this hadith,
I shove him down.
In this hadith. In this
shove him
hadith.
down.
Yes.
You just tell him not to slide.
Yes.
That's what you don't understand.
I tell him exactly. I tell him not to slide. Then I push him down. I fixed it. I fixed that he will slide down the slide 10 times.
You said natural disasters equate adultery in this hadith.
Yeah.
Prove it.
I just
You're the knowledgeable person in this hadith. The onus is on you.
I just have.
No, you haven't.
I mean, it's the same with the tornado. God pushes this tornado down the slide.
Prove it.
Same with the child.
Prove it.
I think we're done, man.
No, prove it.
No, I think we're done.
Prove it. No, prove it. Wes.
I can't prove it, man.
So you can't prove it.
Yeah, people will see
Because
on the
you
cameras
don't.
that
Because you know why, Wes? Because you
I'm
don't.
not a scholar.
No, because you don't understand our position first to critique. In order for you to critique, know our position. Because what you're doing, you're just based on this one hadith. If I do that with the Bible, you're not going to like it, would you?
No, but that's what
You're not gonna like it, would you?
Everyone does. I don't understand when you say
No,
know
but
your
you got
position.
to be reasonable.
If you're saying,
Wes, before
What
you
you
spoke,
say- when you
Wes,
say-
before you
sorry.
spoke to me, Wes, before you spoke to me,
Before you spoke to me.
no, but okay, sorry. The other way around. All right, that's a good one. Okay. Did you know about the position of the two different types of will of Allah? Did you know? Be honest.
No.
Okay, khalas.
No, but you have to understand
But
this.
I don't
One
understand.
second. That doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You can still critique from what he is seeing.
No, you can't.
Right? And it's your position.
So
to
that means I
defend
can't ever see. No, wait. That means that you can never ask any Christian here about Christianity.
Remember,
unless you have studied that Bible inside and out,
Wes,
unless you've
okay.
understood every single
Okay.
denomination.
Very good.
Exactly the same thing.
Wes, that's absolutely. That's a great.
Exactly the same thing.
Wes, that's a great point you made. But did you come from a position of challenging, or did you come from a position of learning? Be
What?
honest. Be honest.
Oh, so you want to convert to Christianity?
No.
You're coming here to learn about Christianity.
Wes,
Is that what you're
no,
telling me? Is that what you're telling me?
Wes, I think
No,
you
be
misunderstood.
honest with me. No, be honest with me.
Okay,
When you said learning, are you coming to question Christians to learn about Christianity to convert?
Wes,
You're coming to challenge.
Wes,
That's what we're doing.
Wes. Oh, so you did come from a position of challenge.
That's what we're doing.
Okay, in order for you to challenge, you should know our position first, and you didn't know. Be intellectually honest, Wes. Be intellectually honest.
When you say know your
Wes,
position,
I'm not going to run away. I'm here every
Yeah.
Sunday.
When you say
Come,
when you say know your position, the way you're using that is
Wes,
as if I have
Wes.
to accept. I have to
Okay,
accept
let
your
me
position.
give an example.
That's what it sounds
Let me
like.
give an example. As a Muslim, I say, you know the doctrine of the Trinity, you believe the Father is the Son is the Father. And I come from a position of challenge. You're going to say, you want to come here and challenge about our Trinity. You don't even know our position first. Go and learn our position. And that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing right now. Hence, that's why not all Muslims know how to argue. That's my point. Okay? So Wes.
You have a general knowledge of what it means, what predestination means.
Wes.
You've applied that.
Right, but no. But
He's applied his general understanding of
do you not think it
predestination.
doesn't count?
It does.
It doesn't
because
count.
it falls-
Because you have to be
your
internal
view-
critique.
Your view falls
He's
in line
challenging
with that.
our paradigm. He
Right?
has to know our position first. And he doesn't know our position.
even though what you've
But for what I've
explained-
given fails what I'm challenging.
No, it's not about failure. We're not here to win or lose.
No, as
Trust me.
not fails in
Trust
that
me,
way, but
Wes.
it doesn't pass what I'm challenging.
No.
I am showing that there's no.
To critique something,
Yes.
do you not think that you
This
need
is
to have
not
some
right.
basic knowledge
This is
about
not right.
Yes.
He's talking about predestination, generally speaking.
From his
I'm asking-
paradigm.
I'm
Yeah,
asking
but
a
it still falls in line with
No.
what you're saying.
No, is he
If
challenging?
Allah wills that I will sin, right? If Allah wills that I'll commit adultery 5 times, it doesn't matter if I'm told yes or no.
It does matter.
It doesn't, because
matter.
I can't go against that fixed thing.
Timothy.
I can't do nothing about that.
Timothy.
And that's the paradigm, correct me if I'm wrong, brother, where you're coming from, right? If I can't do anything about it, why is God judging me for it?
Again.
That's the point.
Did you see why God is judging? Because you didn't know the distinction between legislative will
You never,
and universal.
you never heard what I
you
just
didn't know
said.
about that.
No, you never heard
Timothy,
what I said.
Timothy.
Raihan, you didn't hear what
No,
I said.
no, I
Let me
heard you,
say it
Timothy.
again. Let me say it again, Raihan.
Okay,
Let me
go
say
on,
it again.
go on.
At that point, it doesn't matter what's legislated.
It does
Why?
matter.
Let me
It does
tell you
matter.
why.
It does matter.
Because if Allah has fixed that I'm going to commit adultery 5 times, and then He tells me 5 times don't commit adultery, He's already fixed it.
He's
I
pushed me
can't
down
do
the
nothing
slide.
about-
He's
I
pushed me
can't
down
do
the slide
nothing.
5
You see
times.
my
You see-
point?
you see,
I
both
can't
of you-
wait 1 second. Let me land. I can't go against that decree.
It's a difficult one, Raihan.
Raihan, even he's saying it to you, bro. We understand this because we know what.
I
Raihan, let me
understand.
let my last point. We understand predestination doctrine, right? And your religion is teaching that. That's where he's coming from. And his argument. Hold a second. His argumentation makes sense without having to know the fullness of what you're saying.
Sorry, Timothy. If you want to challenge somebody's position, you have to know their position first. And he didn't know about our theology, the distinction between legislative will and universe related will.
What does my
So,
lack,
wait,
what
one
does my
second,
lack
one second,
of knowledge take
Timothy,
away from my
Timothy,
critique?
Wait, 1 second.
What
one
does my
second,
lack of
one
knowledge on
second,
that
one
take away
second,
from my critique?
1 second, Wes. 1 second. Because it changes everything. Because if you don't
Changes the world, man.
don't know our position in the first place, and if somebody enlightened you about it, then at least use that as an opportunity to say, you know what, I want to challenge their position because I didn't hear about that. I'm going to challenge. But now,
Okay, I've heard about it now and I'm still challenging.
No.
So there's no change.
Because you're still regurgitating your position.
Because I'm showing
which
that
I'm not
God-
interested in.
No, but
What I'm interested in is, did you understand our position? And you still haven't demonstrated. You still haven't demonstrated how committing adultery equates natural disasters.
because you have admitted on camera that the adultery and also the hurricanes go under that fixed will.
That's correct.
You admitted that.
Okay.
You did. You
So
did.
in other words,
Because
there's
when
no
he was
distinction.
describing the hadith, you brought up tornadoes. You brought up where someone was born, but he was talking about adultery. He was talking about sinful things.
And you admitted on
So
camera that
you
put them-
conflated those
exactly.
things together. You did that.
And so by doing that, you've basically
just
made the other will redundant.
Thank you.
You see, you still haven't understood universe-related will. Allah's
We're not jumping in.
universe-related will means Allah. Allah.
Talk at the same time.
You see, again, you're not listening. Universe-related will means Allah has permitted everything, evil and good.
Yeah, hurricanes and adultery.
Right. Good.
Right.
Wait, 1 second.
Yeah.
1 second. When I said evil and good, right, we're talking about in the context of human as well as natural disasters.
Yeah, I know. So adultery and hurricanes.
Right. Okay, fine.
You're right to say
But the difference between natural disasters and adultery is that adultery comes under the legislative will, that Allah doesn't want us to commit adultery. Whereas natural disasters is not something that is connected to our choice.
Should I tell you what I think? Legislative will, when you say adultery goes under legislative will, to me...
No,
let
against
me-
the legislative
It
will.
goes against legislative will.
Yes.
Allah's legislative will sounds like desire to me. That God desires for one not to do something.
Okay.
But that desire can be disobeyed, or that desire...
That's universe-related will.
No, then you're mixed. Don't you understand? You're mixing up those two wills.
No, don't.
No, because
Look,
where
with
does
all due
okay? The
respect-
hurricane
Wes,
isn't
with all due
universal.
respect, Wes,
Wait,
with
hold
all
on.
due respect, with all due respect, you didn't even know about these two different wills, and then you're correcting
I
me.
don't need-
I'm the one that informed you about it.
Okay.
Right. The point is this. No. 1 second. Why would you be accountable for adultery, and why would you be accountable for natural disasters? The reason why. Is, wait. 1 second.
Yeah, but you
The reason why. No. Wes, you're equivocating natural disasters with adultery in terms of accountability. I'm
Why?
saying, Why?
Why am I
Because
doing
you
that?
misunderstood my point.
No.
Yes.
Why am I
I'll tell you
doing
what,
that?
I'll tell you
No.
what, I'll
Why
tell
am
you
I
what.
doing that?
I'll tell you
Okay,
why.
why?
Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us, do not commit adultery.
No, that's
Now
not
wait,
why.
one second.
No. Still man me now.
No. Wes, I'm not going to steal man your position because you. Look, with all due respect.
you understand my position?
Wes, with all due respect, you're doing internal critique. You have to engage my position, not your position. Just like Islamic dilemma, so-called Islamic dilemma, you're going to have to internally critique our
No, it
scriptures,
invokes our
not from
scriptures.
your
It
perspective.
invokes our
So
scriptures,
similarly,
so it invokes our scriptures.
similarly, nowhere does the Qur'an and the Sunnah say natural disaster is a sin. Because that's not within that. You have wait one second.
You were the one who equated it.
Oh my
That's
days,
the point.
does it?
You
Raihan,
okay,
you
Raihan,
equated
wait,
it, bro.
wait.
Take a minute. You equated
You are the
it.
one who said that
Not
hurricanes and adultery is under the universal one. It's under universal will.
and you forget-
and universal will is fixed. Good and bad, Allah has decreed.
Yes.
You want to take it back?
And then you are saying,
No, but I agree with that.
And
But
then
you're forgetting.
Wait, let me finish. And then you're saying, and then you're saying, and then you're saying there is a
No, but I've already said
hold
that.
on. There's a legislative will.
Yes.
In which man can obey or disobey.
No, that man must obey.
But we disobey it.
Oh my days! Does he,
Don't
does
you
he-
disobey
does he,
it?
Does he not understand?
No,
do you
no,
not? Do you
is
not
it
understand?
not
Wes,
true
do you not
that-
understand?
Did
Wes,
Allah tell you not to lie?
yes.
Do you lie?
Or have you
Yes.
ever lied?
Yes, I've ever lied, yeah.
So then that
So
so
what?
that
That
is
can
is
be
that will
disobeyed.
so that will can be disobeyed. The legislative will can be
like a
disobeyed.
desire,
No,
doesn't it?
oh my days!
Exactly, that's
No,
what I
no,
said.
no,
The
no,
legislative-
no, 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 no,
decree that
no,
he's saying
no,
that-
no, no, no.
that's the
See,
definition of sin, isn't
no,
it?
he,
Exactly.
no, no, no,
Bingo.
no,
Bingo.
no, wait, no,
That's how we
Wes,
get
Wes, no,
sin.
Wes, no, Wes.
If it's this, from
Wes,
the Islamic perspective, what I'm
Wes,
saying,
Wes, you gotta let me speak now.
So let me just sorry, I'm really sorry. Let me just finish. What I'm saying is, from the Islamic perspective, judgment happens when you disobey the legislative will. But
Define
no-
disobedience. Define disobedience.
Huh?
Define disobedience.
Going against the desire of God, the will of God,
No.
the commands of
The commands of
yeah.
God. That's what legislative will means.
That can be disobeyed.
And that falls under?
The legislative will.
No. That comes under universal legislative.
No, you said
Legislative before.
you're mixing.
No,
You said-
You
You're
see,
mixing.
you
The
see,
universal
you see,
one is
again,
the decree.
again.
Wait, you said the universal one is the decree,
So,
right?
in other words,
Both
when we
are
say,
decreed. That's my
Raihan,
point.
Okay,
The
okay.
point
Let me
is
just
this.
help. When we say universal, we say hurricane. When we say universal, we say hurricane.
Is that the only example I gave?
No, or to natural disasters.
No, see, you see, let me.
No. Just so,
let me,
just
let
so
me,
we,
defi-
so
let
we
me,
so we know the
but let me,
categories.
no, let me,
Just so we know the categories. Just so we know the categories.
let me define it again, Wes.
okay.
Because I don't think you understand. When we say Allah's universe-related will, it means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala permits everything that happens, whether your good deeds, whether your bad deeds, as well as natural disasters.
That's the decree. That's what he decreed.
I agree. They're both.
Okay, so
Right,
you're
wait, one
correct
second.
to say that
One
then.
second. Yes. But what you're forgetting is that the reason why you're not accountable for natural disasters is because you're not being told that natural disaster is a sin. You'll only be accountable for the things that Allah has told you not to do things when you do things. That's the distinct. Therefore, natural disasters is not a sin, and committing adultery is a sin.
Okay.
So why does he understand that? So he's not listening. Should I explain to you?
Yeah, sorry.
When we say Allah's universe-related will, it means Allah permits everything. Allah allows good, Allah allows evil, Allah allows everything that happens.
Does he fix anything?
Yeah, I say both. Fixed.
Is there a difference between allowing and fixing?
No. Fixed comes under allowance and commandments.
Wait.
No. You're laughing. Wait, hang on. You're laughing, Wes. You're laughing, Wes. Wait, one second. Wes. Wait.
You said under. You said under.
I'm not going to repeat again. I said. Can I
This is very
mention?
important. We need to understand this.
When Allah fixed, He fixed His legislation and His universe will.
It's the universal will we're trying to.
Are you accountable for natural disasters? No, because that doesn't come under the legislation of Allah.
I understand.
But are you accountable for adultery? Yes, because you're going against the legislation.
But can
it's
Allah
And
fix?
both
but can
of
Allah-
them are fixed.
But can Allah? But when Allah fixes,
Finish.
when Allah fixes
Finish.
the sin, the adultery, the sin to somebody, where does that lie? Does that go under legislation?
That
Does
goes-
go under universal?
No, it goes against the legislation.
I know it goes against.
Therefore, it's a sin. But natural disasters.
No, but he's trying to
I
understand
know it
it from
goes
the
against-
paradigm.
No, I don't get your point.
No,
Wes.
Remember I
the
said- no,
paradigm
because
of
I
the
said-
universal.
I said, from what it
Entertaining.
sounds like, the legislation will sounds like Allah's desire. He desires man not to sin. He desires man to go after him. He desires man to
agree.
obey his
I agree.
rights.
Okay, that's
That is not fixed.
No, that is fixed.
so both the
Again,
legislative.
I'm not going to waste
So
my
then
time
how
now
can-
because
so-
I've
so then
I've already
there's something
no
wrong here.
Tim,
Wait,
one second, Timothy.
wait.
I've said this many
Raihan, there's
times.
something wrong here.
Allah fixed everything because He knows He written down
Like he
before the
fixed
creation.
adultery.
Our actions, yes.
So the adultery that you
That person
commit,
commits adultery.
Allah has fixed.
Allah's already fixed. But
So
that person is a sin because the person knows that he's going against the legislation of Allah. But natural disasters, yes, that comes under universal will as well.
Okay, let me give you an
Wait,
analogy.
hang on.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be accountable because you didn't have a choice.
I'll give you an analogy.
you never
No,
had a
hold on.
choice
No,
anyway.
wait.
Yes,
I'll give you
you did have
another
a choice.
analogy. I'll give you another analogy.
Okay.
I create a robot.
No, I don't use human examples.
Anyway, I'm gonna still run my analogy.
No,
Let's say
no, I don't accept.
use
I
the
don't
slide one.
accept
No, but I want
analogies.
you, at least hear what I want to say. I create a robot, right?
Yeah.
In the robot, I give it this software that says, don't do this, don't do that, right? But I create the robot with another software that it cannot, so that it's hardware or that runs its hardware to make it do X, Y, and Z, right? So I say to the robot, don't walk outside, right? This is the instruction I've given you. But then I put in its software for it to walk outside.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Whose fault is that?
I see
Whose
what
fault?
you're saying.
The robot.
Is the
No, prove it. No, prove it. No. Hang on.
If I make a robot,
Hang on.
to say go outside,
Hang on.
and then I also say to the robot, don't go outside, and it goes outside, you said it's the robot's fault.
Wait, hang on.
You can't have robots, man. Robots.
Wes.
You hear that?
Wes, are you going to let me talk?
Okay, go on.
Here's the conundrum that you have. If there is a distinction between the legislation will and the universe-related will, what I mean by legislation will is that humans are conscious of obeying God in certain matters. Okay? But universe-related will are everything that He permits, whether the person does good, whether the person does evil, and also natural disasters, any other stuff.
Yes.
Okay. I'm saying the human is still accountable for their action of adultery because that falls under the legislation. The natural disasters, on the other hand, does not fall under the legislation.
But you
Now, you have to prove to me. Okay, let me create a scenario. If Allah didn't tell us,
can't. You didn't let me do it.
Hang on. Okay. If Allah didn't reveal us the Qur'an and the Sunnah to tell us not to commit adultery, and we carry on committing adultery, are we accountable or not accountable?
According to your hadith, Allah has made people for hell while they're in their father's loins.
No. Answer my question. If
No,
Allah,
but-
no, I'm giving you a hypothetical.
I've given you
example.
the answer.
No, Wes, no, you haven't engaged my point.
No,
If
I've given
I
you the
don't-
answer there.
No, Wes, listen. If-
According to that,
Wes,
according to what you
Wes,
said,
no.
yeah, Allah will
I'm
still
not
throw
talking about
someone
the
into
hadith
hell.
here. I'm asking you, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not command us, do not commit adultery, and we as humans go ahead and commit adultery, are we accountable for our deeds?
I don't really.
Answer the question.
If Allah commanded somebody,
No,
he didn't command. He didn't give the commandment. So if he didn't give the commandment,
Yeah, and you go ahead to do adultery, would you be accountable?
well, I think from a Christian paradigm, no, he's not accountable. No,
Good, and I agree. But if
that's
Allah,
not the case.
Wait, hang
though.
on.
That's not the case
Wait,
because Allah,
wait,
according
wait,
no,
wait.
wait, no, wait.
Oh,
Because
goodness
Allah, according to what your prophet said,
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam, yeah.
according to what Muhammad said, people in their loins, the people who are within their father's loins, are destined for hell.
Okay, so what?
So they didn't hear any commandment from
hang
God.
on. So what?
They didn't hear any commandment of don't commit adultery. They
I know.
haven't heard any legislation.
Okay, wait.
Is
hang
that
on.
true?
Hang on. Destined. Define destined. You're using the hadith. Go on.
If
Clarify.
they're fixed, they can't escape it. That's what the hadith said.
And,
they can't escape it.
and you're not aware that in the Quran and Sunnah, we are not allowed to commit adultery. Why are you oversimplifying the matter?
But it's what That's what your hadith
That's
says.
what you're doing. You're oversimplifying.
I'm not oversimplifying
You are,
anything.
you are.
I'm
Because
just going
you
by
said,
what your text says.
you said that if Allah did not command us to do adultery, and we go ahead and do adultery, then on the day of judgment, we're not accountable for that, correct? Because God didn't command us to do it. God didn't tell us not to commit adultery.
I'm posing
Right?
that as a
No, one
problem
second,
for
one
you.
second.
Yeah.
So are you saying that from the Islamic paradigm, the concept of Qadr, there is no concept of accountability? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is a problem. Yeah, you can't understand it. Like you said, it's
I
a
agree. I
hybrid.
can't understand it. That's my point.
In other words, it's a hybrid. So that means that you do not. That's why I said you do not know the sins that you are accountable for right now.
No, I do.
You
Because
can't.
Just so you know, you're using the atheistic argument to criticize Islam. You know that, right? The same argument can be applied to you. You know that, right?
Anyway,
Same
yeah,
exact argument.
because in Christianity you don't have a
No,
agreement on the Qadr.
because
Anyway,
I have
anyway, the thing is, I'm not going to go down that route. I'll tell you why. Because he wants to know about Islam, about Qadr, so we're going to stick to that. Okay. Now, from your paradigm, do you believe that God knew everything before He created?
knowing something doesn't mean that.
I didn't ask you that.
Okay, yes, he knows.
Okay, so if God knew that you're going to do evil, are you still held accountable?
Yeah, I can still be held accountable.
But if God, wait, hang on.
If he knows, you know, he's talking
Wait. So we agree that God is all-knowing, God is omniscient. He knows what's going to happen in the past, present, and future, and He knows that you're going to commit evil. So if God knows what you're going to do, why doesn't He prevent you from committing evil?
He fulfills that through Jesus Christ.
No.
He does.
No.
Because
No. We're not going by river. No.
Don't
Wait.
tell me no.
That's not an
Let me
answer.
finish. No,
That's
that's
not an answer.
Let me finish.
That's not an
Let me
answer.
finish.
That's not an answer, Wes. That's not an answer.
Shall I tell you why? Because if God allows us our free will to make our decisions and our choices, yet because of His love for us, He still
Yeah.
gives us the choice to choose Him through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ.
So what-
that for us, there is a choice for us to make.
No, but
whereas
what-
for you, you are fixed.
Wait,
There
hang-
is no choice
hang
for you to
on.
make to
So
escape
hang
sin.
on. So, sorry, hang on.
Is that a lie?
Wait, hang on. Why didn't God create a utopian world?
The same with
Oh,
you.
wait, hang on. No.
Same with you.
No. Wait. Because
Same with
we know
you.
we know the answer. You don't. Why?
Yeah,
wait.
the
One
answer is
second.
that you
One
are
second.
fixed
One
to do
second.
evil.
One second.
That's what it is.
Why? No, hang
In
on.
which you are judged for, which makes no sense.
Right, and you still haven't demonstrated a contradiction. Now, with your point, Wes, if God already knew that there's going to be evil that's going to happen on earth, murder, adultery, all this stuff, right? Why didn't God prevent it?
It's the same with you.
No.
Yes, it is.
No, it's the same with you. Why? You tell me.
By the way, let me just say this quickly.
Go on,
Going back to the point you make about sin, right? Adam was punished after he had committed the sin, right? So he was judged for the sin that he did.
Based on what?
You were sent to earth.
Well, he was told, no, from a Christian perspective.
Oh, he was told.
Yeah, from a Christian perspective, he was told.
Sounds like Islamic so far.
From, he was told not to eat of the tree of knowledge.
Yeah, that sounds very Islamic so
Right.
far. Yes. Good.
You know, Islam took its inspiration from the
No,
scriptures.
but you agree with Islam rather than us.
let's
Go
be
on, Timothy.
honest,
So
right?
why are we disagreeing then?
No, but
Go
there are
ahead.
slight differences.
No,
We
but you
have a
didn't.
story
All
of
right, go ahead,
Exodus and all
Timothy.
that sort of
Go
stuff.
ahead, Timothy. Go on.
And the angels prostrating to Adam and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, go on.
Anyway, what's my point? Adam was punished
Why was he punished?
after he had done something that God had commanded him not to
And
do.
God didn't decree that?
No.
God didn't know
no,
that?
I'm not-
God didn't know that?
No, I'm not saying he didn't know. But I'm not
So
saying
what are you
he-
saying
I'm
then?
not saying he decreed it. There's a difference.
Also, he decreed
Let me-
evil
let-
for Adam.
no, listen.
He decreed
Wait,
evil.
one second.
Wow.
You don't
Wait,
listen
hang
to
on.
me.
Wait, hang on.
Wait,
I'm
I'm
not
not saying
wow.
what he's
Okay,
saying.
good.
I'm not saying
Carry
that.
on,
Let me
Timothy. Carry on,
clarify.
carry on,
I think you're
Timothy.
mishearing me.
Okay, go on.
Let me make
Okay,
it-
I apologize.
Thank you.
Timothy. All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Don't, make sure you hear me
Sorry,
carefully.
I had Americano. That's why. Go on.
Okay. Yeah, make sure you're hearing me carefully.
Okay,
Yeah?
all right.
God may have known that Adam was going to sin.
May?
God knew Adam's sin.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
God knew Adam's sin. Fair point.
God knew, okay.
God knew Adam would sin.
Okay.
But him decreeing it or him creating Adam to sin is not what we're saying was his purpose.
Wow, so God didn't create Adam's sin.
To sin, no, we don't say that God created Adam to sin.
But did Adam do evil?
He did do evil. He went against.
So
when
God-
let me explain.
Okay,
So
okay,
when
go on.
God gave him a commandment,
Yeah.
Adam had a choice.
Okay.
Right? So
Okay.
then now he can be judged on the choice
that he
that he
makes.
made. Let me make my. I need
Okay.
to land. I need to land.
But God
No,
fixed
I
that.
need to land. I
But
need to
God
land.
fixed that.
I need to land.
So God didn't know.
I need to land. I need to land.
So God didn't know.
I need to land. I need
So
to
God
land.
didn't know.
I need to
Is that
land.
what you're saying?
I need to land.
Okay, go on.
Now, if God fixed it that Adam would commit this sin, that he said, that he decreed and declared that this is what Adam's going to do.
Okay, yeah.
He's going to sin. I will make him sin.
Is that what you believe?
No, I don't believe that. That's
So
what,
God
that's-
didn't know.
You're conflating
knowledge and
knowledge
decreeing.
and force.
I don't see the difference.
That's the problem.
No, I don't.
That's
Why
the
is that a
problem.
problem?
That's
Wait,
what
so
I'm-
God didn't
No,
know.
let me explain my point. I want to
I'm
get
confused.
my point
I'm very
out.
confused.
No, wait, hold on. Actually, if you do not see a difference between knowledge and force, then that means you agree that Allah forces you to sin.
Exactly.
Prove it.
Exactly.
Prove it.
Exactly.
Because so far, wait, hang on. So far, what you're explaining is in line with Islam. Go ahead.
No,
you
it
just said
isn't.
that
Go ahead. I want you to
The
complete.
reason why I'm explaining it is because it's not in Islam, not in line with Islam. That's why I'm explaining it to you.
Okay, go ahead then. Go
I've
ahead.
shown you a difference.
All right, Timothy, go on.
I'm
You explain
showing
to
you
me
a
how
difference.
Adam fell. Go on.
No, he made a very good point.
No, I want you to go back to
he
your
made a
point.
very good point, right? You're conflating decreeing and
No, knowledge is part of his degree. That's my point.
Yeah, but
now
you're-
go ahead.
so-
Go ahead.
So in
And
other
you don't
words,
believe in
if
that.
there's no
You
difference-
don't believe in that. Go ahead.
He made a point, and I want him to focus on it.
No,
Because what
If
you
there's
said
no
was
difference
actually good.
between his knowledge and his decree,
No, it's part of his degree. Knowledge is part of his
if
degree.
it's part of, if it's in there,
So he's
right?
ignorant. He didn't know. He didn't know Adam
No,
commit
listen
sin.
to what
Not
I'm
ignorant.
saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
Wow.
If you're saying that God's knowledge, right, and his decree
Yeah.
are together, right?
I didn't say together. I said it's part of. Knowledge is part of
Come on,
degree.
bro. Let's make it easy for us.
No.
It's part of it.
Is his
It's part
knowledge
of it.
fixed? Is his knowledge fixed?
Pardon?
Is his knowledge fixed?
Is Allah's knowledge fixed?
No.
You
I'm
would say
asking
yes.
you. I'm asking you. Do you believe God's knowledge is fixed?
Is God's knowledge fixed?
Yes.
Meaning that he what do you mean exactly?
In
Explain.
other words,
Do you
he's
see
saying-
it?
in other
That
words,
is
he's saying-
exact. Oh, wow. Now you understand. Now you understand.
You said to me
Okay.
earlier,
Okay.
when it came to talking about the word fixed, when it
Okay.
came to talking about the word decreed,
Okay.
you said to
Good.
me earlier,
Good.
what are the definitions?
Very good.
I'm asking you the same thing now.
Thank you. What
Don't
I
be
mean,
upset.
what I mean by, I'm not upset, because you now understand where I'm coming from. The term fixed
I'm
means,
not affirming your position, by the way.
the
I'm just
term,
keen to understand.
the term fixed means everything that is determined, and there's no change. Does God acquire more knowledge, less knowledge?
Okay, so let me respond to you, right? So when I'm talking about Adam, for example, and I say that Adam is judged for his sin, it doesn't mean that God didn't know that Adam would sin.
I would agree with that.
Yeah?
But I'm asking you, is God's knowledge
Hey,
fixed
hold on a second,
about
hold on a
that
second.
affair?
Yeah, but knowing that Adam will sin after creating him and
But is it fixed?
determining that
So it's
Adam
fixed.
will sin
So it's
is
fixed.
a different thing.
No, it's fixed. That's
Because
what
then
that's
you
what
could-
fixed means.
then-
Determined.
Then you could blame God and say, you made
No,
me
no,
sin.
we're not blaming God. That's blasphemy.
No, but
the
but
point
that's-
is, the
that's
point I'm
the
asking you.
perspective I'm coming
No,
from. Why-
is God's knowledge
Raihan,
fixed?
Raihan,
Is
look,
God's knowledge
Raihan,
fixed?
Raihan, that's the perspective I'm coming from.
Is God's knowledge fixed?
Explain to me what you mean by that. When
Determined.
you put knowledge,
Determined.
In other words,
God knowledge
it's
God's
determined.
knowledge doesn't differ. It doesn't change. It doesn't
when you
go
say
up and down.
determined, meaning that, what do you mean exactly? I need to make sure we understand.
Determined means there's no change. If God doesn't acquire more knowledge, and God
So he
doesn't
knows
decrease in
all
knowledge.
things. He knows everything.
Absolute.
I
Doesn't change.
agree with that.
So he's fixed.
No,
So he's
no, no,
fixed.
no,
Thank
he's
you.
fixing
Thank you.
absolute-
Thank
he's,
you.
He's
Thank
fixing,
you.
Wait.
He's fixing Allah's, or he's fixing, let's say, God's knowledge as a one-train track. In other
I
words,
didn't use that term. Please use my
no,
term.
no, I'll tell you. No, I'll explain why. He's
Go on.
basically saying that God's knowledge is a one-train track.
I just want an answer.
In which-
Is
let me
God's
finish,
knowledge
let me
fixed?
finish, let
Is
me
God's
finish,
knowledge
let me finish.
fixed?
He's basically saying that when he says fixed, he's basically saying there's nothing else. Anything that happens is God's knowledge. That's what he's saying. So everything that occurs in reality is God's knowledge.
Yes.
Anything that doesn't happen is not God's
So
knowledge
that's
and
what I
therefore
mean.
doesn't exist.
That's what I mean.
What
Thank
I
you very
wanna
much.
do- Okay, that's good. I'm glad we were able to agree on something there.
Yeah.
Right? What I want to try and drive this home because this has been going on for a while.
Sure. Well, I'm
Well,
enjoying
well,
it.
actually, I want
I'm
to say
enjoying
something
it.
though.
I'm enjoying
I
it.
think though that I think that actually limits God.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you why.
Ooh.
Because if I can think of something that doesn't exist in reality, that means I can do something that Allah can't do.
Okay.
Because what he's saying is that if Allah's knowledge,
Alhamdulillah for Islam. Alhamdulillah for Islam.
if God's knowledge is fixed, right? If Allah's knowledge is fixed,
Hello,
right,
how are you, Finger?
then things that don't occur, things that don't happen, also doesn't exist, right? Right?
I don't understand your point. Could you clarify?
You're saying if I'm to wake up in the morning, there's no knowledge of Allah that I don't wake up in the morning.
I don't get that. You have to clarify, please. I'm trying to understand.
If it's Allah's knowledge that I get a red car, then there is no knowledge that I get a blue car.
Whose knowledge? I don't get
Allah's
it.
knowledge. In Allah's knowledge,
That's my point. It's fixed.
it's fixed. Exactly. But
So do you
in other
believe
words,
God's
he's
knowledge is
saying that. In other words, he's saying that
Yeah.
reality
Yeah.
is fixed by
Yes.
Allah's knowledge.
Yes. Do
Right.
you believe that?
So whatever occurs in reality,
Yeah.
whatever occurs in reality is fixed.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't occur in reality, it's not knowledge.
Okay.
But I'm saying I can imagine
it.
something that
Agreed.
doesn't occur in reality.
Brilliant.
I can imagine a unicorn. I
Brilliant.
can imagine all sorts of different
helping
things
you out.
that don't occur in reality. Right?
So they become-
And he's saying that Allah can't do that.
No, it's
That's
absurd.
what he's saying.
It's absurd to say
That's
that
what he's
Allah.
saying.
No,
I
it's-
can imagine things that are not in reality.
I don't say can't. I
Right?
don't like that.
I can do that.
A unicorn.
Like a unicorn, like anything, right? I can imagine these things. I can picture them in my mind. I can draw it out, right? But he's saying that if it doesn't occur in reality at all in any sense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Then it can't
What
exist.
would we consider reality in this situation?
Okay, let them agree. Go on. No, you still haven't agreed. Go ahead.
I think what you're saying about reality is anything that occurs in space, matter, or time.
Okay. So what I want to understand, right?
10 minutes.
Guys.
10 minutes? 10 minutes, guys?
Yeah, that's enough.
No,
That
we have
should
a
be
nice
enough.
conversation.
Yeah.
It's been a nice debate.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, guys, 10 minutes.
And I think the most important thing that's standing out to me is something that you mentioned earlier about knowing and force. And that's something that I want to talk about a little bit. Because when you're speaking about it, how I'm understanding what Allah determines in relation to His knowledge.
You still haven't answered my question.
Say your question.
Is
one more
God's
time.
knowledge fixed after how he explained?
I need to make sure I understand exactly what you
He
mean.
just explained perfectly. I agree. Me and the brother, we nodded.
No, so you agree that I can think of something.
No, God. We're talking about God's knowledge.
No, because that's a part of my explanation. I can think of something that doesn't exist in reality, and Allah can't do this act that I'm doing.
No, Allah knows your thoughts.
Huh?
Allah knows your thoughts. God knows your thoughts, right? You agree?
He knows my thoughts.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, does God's knowledge
So
change?
are my thoughts fixed?
Is it changed? If it's not changed, then it's fixed.
He's saying that my thoughts are fixed as well.
Knowledge change. You know,
Yes.
He knows all things that happen.
Okay, I want a direct response.
understand.
Vince
But
Fitz,
he-
is God's knowledge
He's
fixed?
saying that. Sorry,
Does
so go
God's
on,
knowledge
sorry, let me know.
change over time?
No.
So it's fixed.
Yes.
Thank you.
But
Alhamdulillah.
but
We agree.
not
Raihan,
quantifiable.
Raihan.
Thank you.
Can I
Thank you.
Can I
not
explain?
quantifiable.
Thank
Can I
you.
explain?
Thank
Can I
you.
explain?
Yes.
God knowing everything that will ever happen doesn't mean that He's making somebody sin.
Thank you. Can
Right?
God prevent
No,
Adam
no,
from
no,
eating
don't
the
say
tree?
thank you. Don't say thank you, right? Because
Come on,
there's-
Timothy.
there's a di-
I'm
you're
glad
saying
we agree
thank you.
something.
Wait, hold on a second.
Come
You're
on,
saying thank you as if we agree. We don't agree. There's a difference in our understanding, and that's what I want to highlight.
You just said, I'm glad we agree on something. Before, you just
I
said
was
that.
talking about what
Yeah,
his
so-
definition.
yeah, so
but
thank
he
you.
disagreed
Yeah.
with your definition to some degree because he started talking about the unicorn.
So
in
God's
front
knowledge can change.
of you. I answered you. Let me follow through my point, please. I don't want to go backwards on that again.
I think I've given
No,
enough
no,
chance.
no, no,
Go ahead,
I'll
Tim.
try
I'll
to
give you one more
understand.
chance. I'll give you
You're
one more
basically
chance.
saying
You're not giving me
I'll give
chances.
you one more
You're
chance.
not
I'll give you
giving me chances,
I'll give you
Ray.
one more chance.
You're
Go
not
ahead.
giving me chances.
I'm just giving you now.
You're
One
not
more
giving me
chance.
chances.
One
I'm
more.
speaking,
One more.
right? I hope we have respect for each other.
Of course I'm having respect.
It's not about
I've
giving.
spoken to you before, Timothy.
Yeah, we have, and that's good.
Yeah,
shake
no
your
problem.
hand.
No
Yeah.
problem, Timothy. Go ahead.
The point I'm trying to make is this. I totally accept that God knows all things. I don't disagree with that, right?
Good.
However, when we're talking about this universal law, or what's the phrase you used again?
Universe related will. Universal
Yeah.
will.
How I'm understanding is that that's something that Allah has predetermined.
I agree.
You will commit adultery 10 times. That will happen.
I agree.
Right?
Because he's knowledgeable, he's all-knowing, that's why.
So even though let's say, no, there's a difference though. Of
What's
saying
the
that-
Because
difference?
he's conflating the knowing and force.
Exactly.
Putting them
Wait,
together.
so God didn't know the force?
No, because
Is that what you're
This
saying?
is-
You're saying God didn't know the
wait,
force?
He's
When you
saying
say-
what he
when
just said there is the key to our argument.
So God didn't know the force?
I want to ask you a question. Actually.
No.
I
It's
wanna understand.
no.
No,
I want no.
Raihan. That's the key point to the argument.
No.
That's the key point there.
Timothy West. God didn't know the force?
The force. The what?
You're making the distinction between God knows all things and the force. So I'm asking, did God know that
No,
force?
no. When I say force, as in God, you're conflating that God's
Compulsion,
knowledge.
compelled.
You put them together.
But
Let me explain.
I know. Wait, hang on. But
Please.
did God
That's
know?
the- this is the
but
key
did,
point.
Hang on. Did God know that Adam will eat the tree? He will eat from
Yes,
the
he
tree.
knows he will eat the tree.
Could
but
he have
did not
prevented
force
it? Could he have prevented it?
Pardon?
Could he have prevented it?
I mean, of course he can. Of course
Why
could
didn't he?
have. Pardon?
Why didn't he?
Because he didn't want to infringe on Adam's
Because-
free will.
Ah, so it doesn't conflict with Adam's free will, right?
Pardon?
Even though God determined it.
No, see, you went from no to determined.
I
Can
think you
see
agree.
that?
I think
No, no,
think
you've gone
slowly.
from no to
I think slowly you're agreeing.
No,
Nah,
Raihan,
nah,
no,
yeah.
no,
Go
I
ahead,
need to
go
ask
ahead,
Raihan.
go ahead.
Raihan,
No, wait,
Raihan,
can I ask him a question?
Yeah, but I'm going to
Go
support
on,
you.
Wes. Go on, Timothy. Go on.
Focus on what he's saying without asking him another question. Why? Because we.
No, I was always on the back for the whole time.
No,
I
but-
think I can challenge you.
No, because
You've
I
been
gave
having
you-
it for the past 45 minutes.
I gave you an explanation, and it's come to this point where we're talking about
Is
the
God's,
knowledge
is God's knowledge fixed?
and the force.
Yeah, see, that's what he's saying. The God's knowledge is God's power fixed.
Is God's power fixed?
Yes.
Yes.
Whoa.
Why?
You can fix God's power. So when is Allah omnipotent?
Do you know what fixed mean?
Well, tell me then.
Oh
when
my
you
days.
say that Allah's power is fixed, what does that mean?
It means there's no change. It doesn't increase and it doesn't decrease. God's knowledge, God's power doesn't increase or decrease. God is always powerful. You agree with that?
Yeah, but you can't quantify
Do you agree with that? I'm not saying we can quantify. I'm
It's
saying
all powerful. I'll accept that.
right. So it's
So when
so
you
it's
say-
fixed. So it's fixed.
that. That doesn't make sense.
Why not? Go on, prove it to me. Prove it to me.
No, the reason why I'm saying
worship God or if you don't worship God, he's the same.
Exactly. Thank
That's what
you.
we say. It doesn't
Barakallah
change.
fiik.
Yeah,
It doesn't
but when you-
change.
yeah, but
Like
when
some days you're
Yes,
tired,
when
some
you're
days
saying-
you're energetic,
but
but God ain't like that.
Yes, but
Thank
when
you.
you're
Thank you.
when you're saying fixed, it sounds like you're saying that it's always God's power is always at a certain level.
No, I didn't say that.
That's what it sounds
when
like.
Did I, when
When you
did I
say-
say that?
when you use
Wait,
the
wait,
word
wait.
fixed.
No.
but it's
I,
not
you
fixed.
are no. I said. I asked you. Wait, hang on. Let me track the conversation here. Let me track the conversation. Let me track the conversation. I asked you, is God's knowledge fixed? Then you said.
It sounds like it's.
No,
in
wait,
other
one-
words, you're containing
No, but
that.
I clarified it. You asked me, what do you mean by fixed? Are you saying God's power is fixed? I said yes. And then you're having your own laughter, right? Then I said, what I mean by God's power fixed is that his power doesn't increase, doesn't decrease. He's always powerful.
Okay, you did clarify that.
Increase.
Do you agree? Yes or no?
God is all powerful.
I don't know.
It's God's.
Terminology. The terminology.
Exactly.
I know.
Fixed
It's the way
would
you
suggest
fix.
a measure.
Exactly.
Can we just say
Can you
something?
wait? Can you
It's
wait
not
one second?
measure.
One second.
Or
When you say
confinement.
fixed, exactly, and God is not
Confinement.
confined.
We don't
So-
believe that God could change over time.
Exactly.
Allah has always been the same.
Yes, exactly.
he's eternal.
So is he
It's
fixed?
not like a human being. Some days you're tired, some days
Exactly.
you're not. God ain't like that. He's
Exactly.
always the same.
Thank you.
No, but your fix doesn't make your fix adds. You're using the word fixed,
Yeah.
right? Adds confinement.
I'm
Like,
using a
there's that-
philosophical term, not a colloquial term.
Yeah, we got-
Not everyday
we got like
language.
5 minutes.
Not everyday language. That you're talking about physical quality.
problem.
To be honest,
Yeah,
I think we're going.
but
we're
he's,
going-
but he's using from a physical properties.
He should address
Yeah,
that.
that fixed meaning that is measured, that is limited. I'm talking about God's attributes of his
Did God
all
make
powerful,
me commit
all knowing.
adultery?
Does that change regardless?
No, that's right. So,
Right, so God
when
knowledge
you
is
would
fixed.
say
So
God,
God
is
knowledge
all
is-
powerful,
Thank
all
you.
knowledge.
You would say yes or no.
And
Thank you, thank you.
when you use the term
Yes.
fixed,
Yes.
because we use it so often in
Yes.
everyday language,
Yes.
we're taking it as a containment,
Yes.
and it's not.
But I've already
you don't mean
clarified.
it as a
I don't mean by the
You
containment.
he's all powerful,
Yes.
all knowledge.
Yes. And does
There's
that
no
change?
limits. There's no limits to
So
it.
can we agree? So with that definition and with that clarification I made about fixed, do you agree that God's knowledge is fixed and God's power is fixed?
I'll be honest. I can't really understand the fixed thing because I said it. It
You,
sounds.
you explained it very well to
One
Timothy.
second. You
No,
believe
because
that
of-
God is consistent.
Yeah, but consistent and fixed are two different things. Like when you say fixed, you add some sort of like constraint or
Does
confinement to something.
God's knowledge increase, decrease, or always?
Yeah, but then you're saying.
Or there's no,
that-
it's
you're
absolute.
Saying, you're saying that.
That's what
knowledge-
absolute
you're
means.
making
Is
knowledge-
God? All right, let me make it simple.
you're
Is
making
God's
knowledge
knowledge relative?
quantifiable, like
Is it
that.
relative? Is God's knowledge relative?
I don't know what that means. Listen. We've
Okay.
kind of- listen, okay.
This is the
Raihan,
problem.
Raihan,
No. Wait.
Raihan,
Wes,
Raihan.
you still haven't answered my question,
What you were
man.
going to say?
You
I
still
said I
haven't.
don't understand.
You still haven't answered my question.
No, but I said I don't
Is
understand.
God's knowledge
That's my-
fixed?
I don't understand that question.
Fixed meaning that God's knowledge doesn't increase or decrease. He's always all knowing.
I still don't
Oh,
understand
if he's
that.
always all knowing, absolutely.
Okay, so did God always knew that Adam will eat from the tree?
Always know.
Yes.
Did he determine that?
No.
Okay. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
No.
How could he know, but not
Exactly. Thank you.
You can't cut me off at that point. I give an
I'm
answer.
asking a
Yeah,
question.
I've given
I'm
an
trying to ask a
answer.
question. I'm trying to
Right,
ask a question.
I've given an answer. Let me follow.
Go
through,
ahead. Go
right?
ahead.
That's
Go ahead.
fair, right?
Go ahead.
I said it before. I'll say it again.
No problem.
God knew, right? And it actually ties into what my brother here was saying about Jesus Christ. Actually, it does tie into that. But God knew that Adam. You could do that if you.
Go ahead.
God knew that Adam would sin.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But God didn't create Adam
Huh?
to sin.
God didn't create Adam
To sin.
To sin.
How could you know something, but it's not?
Did I tell you why?
Didn't
Let me
God
tell you
create
why.
Adam? Didn't God create
Let
Adam?
me tell you why. Let me tell you why. When Adam was created, you can touch your head if you want. When Adam was created, right? He gave him a commandment. Do not eat from the tree of the knowledge. You could. He doesn't.
Yes. Go ahead.
You're
Go
not
ahead.
listening.
No, I'm not
Hear
even
me,
talking.
hear
I'm
me,
just
hear
doing
me.
my gestures. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right?
yes,
If you
yes.
do, on that day you will surely die. Adam didn't listen to God's command, and because of that, he died. So there was a consequence.
Spiritually, yeah.
So there was a consequence physically. There was a consequence for his disobedience, right? Which he could be judged for because he had done something against the will of God. That everyone could attest to and say, actually, we know that this is what Adam did. Therefore, his judgment.
What kind of will? Legislative will or universal will?
Please. I'm speaking from
Okay.
my paradigm.
Good.
Right?
Okay.
So
Okay, fine.
I hope you understand that. So that's why when
I
you're
understand.
nodding, you have to make sure
I'm
that you're
nodding.
in my
I'm
paradigm.
nodding,
yeah?
Timothy. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Let me get my thoughts again.
Okay, no problem, Timothy.
So Adam is judged for something that he knew that he did wrong, right? Now, Adam could say to God under this Islamic paradigm, hey, you created me to do this. I had no choice. You determined this for me.
And fixed it so that I
Wait,
cannot escape.
wait.
I'll let you-
And fixed it so I couldn't escape. So I was destined to always sin against you. How could I even call that sin if I had no choice in the matter?
Good.
So the whole concept of sin, then, the whole concept of judgment, right? Even the concept of forgiveness, because it's connected to all of these things.
You want to come in?
Don't make sense. Let me. Don't make sense in Islam.
Okay, go on.
Why? Because truly you can't hold a person accountable for their wrongdoing because Allah determined that they would do wrong. And no one could go against that.
Yeah, no one can escape.
That's the problem, right? So I hope that made sense.
Okay,
Yeah?
I understand your position. Do you want to talk or should I talk? Okay. Do you see, when you say that God didn't determine Adam to commit sin, you conceded that God's knowledge is fixed. And I'm saying fixed in our definition means he determined. So we're just playing
No, I said
semantics.
all-knowing. My understanding
I understand.
is all-knowing.
I understand.
I'm saying when
No,
I talk about God's knowledge,
otherwise, wait one second.
all-knowing, that's what I'm
I'll let you
saying.
speak. I'll let you speak. Because God's knowledge is fixed, that means it's determined. Because fixed means there's no change. It's determined. That's what determination means.
Okay.
So you then have to then concede that God did determine Adam committing sin.
No. Because
Yes,
when,
why not?
when you're describing it in
Why
the
not?
Islamic paradigm, going back to that hadith, these people...
No, I'm coming from your paradigm now.
No, I'm
you
going,
said
I'm
you're
going
si-
in between.
No,
right?
I'm going from your paradigm
Yeah, I
now.
hear what you're saying, but let me
Yes,
explain,
yes.
right? When you're talking about sin, right, this legislative thing, right?
No, forget about that. Let's keep it simple for you. So you say that God commanded Adam not to eat from this tree, otherwise you will die.
Yeah.
God, because Adam went against the will of God, God knew for this to happen, but he didn't determine for this to happen. Is that correct? Did I still man your argument correctly?
Yes. So
Good.
what I'm
Now
saying-
I'm saying when we say God's knowledge is fixed, we mean God's determination. God determined it.
So you're saying that, okay, so to make sure that I understand this correctly then, well, we've been going up back and forth on this for a long time. If, and I'll say this one more time, if God has determined me to commit adultery 5 times, but then he tells me 100 times I can read the Qur'an or whatever it is, don't commit adultery, this and that, there's no way that I'm not going to commit adultery 5 times
Okay.
because he's determined that.
Okay, so
Right?
I'm going to simulate
no, no,
that.
no,
Okay,
so-
fine.
no,
Let me
listen,
simulate
no,
that.
no,
Go
Let
on,
me.
go
No,
on.
this
All
is the
right,
point
fine,
that I'm trying to
fine.
make.
Go ahead.
When it comes to knowledge
Okay.
and force
Right,
and
right.
fixed and can't escape.
Yeah, to
Right.
To
Sorry,
support that.
can I
just wanna-
just-
I just want to support
Okay,
that.
go on.
The Prophet said, this is Sahih al-Bukhari 6614.
Yeah.
The Prophet said, Adam and Moses argued with each other.
Yes.
Moses said to Adam, "Oh Adam, you are our father who disappointed us and turned us out of paradise."
Yeah.
Then Adam said to him, "Oh Moses, Allah favored you with his talk,
Yeah.
and he wrote the Torah for you with his own hand.
Yes.
Do you blame me for the action which Allah had written in my fate 40 years before my creation?"
Yeah.
So Adam confuted Moses, and Adam confuted. So Adam confuted Moses. Adam confuted Moses. The Prophet added, repeating the statement 3 times.
Yeah.
So Adam is saying that. I think that you are saying that you are being punished for my sin. Adam is saying the sin is not my fault.
No, he's not saying that.
That's what he's saying.
He's saying that God decreed for this to happen.
Yeah, he's saying,
Right, no,
in other words, say, don't blame me.
No.
It's not my fault. That's what that Adam is saying there.
In the sense that he went against the will of God, but God determined for this to
Yeah,
happen.
so
because
Adam
in
is
our
still-
right.
Exactly.
So that's
Adam
my
is
point.
saying it's not my fault.
Right. The thing is, okay. The point is
we
this.
would blame Adam.
We would blame
Wait.
Adam.
Wait. Does he say he's not to be blamed?
Us.
Does he say that in the hadith?
Yeah.
He didn't say that. He just said God decreed for this to happen.
Yeah, but he's saying it's not my fault. That's why he would say. That's what the reason why he would say.
He's complaining it's not his fault.
Do you blame me for
that doesn't
action
mean his
which Allah
complaint
had?
is correct.
Do you blame me for action which
Yes, that's right.
Allah had
Arguing to God,
written
it's
in
not
my
fault for
in
God
my?
saying, no, you can't get off the hook that easy.
Well,
Yeah.
do you blame me for action which Allah had written in my fate 40 years before my creation?
Thank you.
Do you
That
blame me?
that is the point. That is the point. We believe that God fixed everything, either obeying Him or disobeying Him. This is what the Adam is talking about. He's not saying I'm not to be blamed because I committed that sin. It's because I'm not blamed in the sense that God already determined for this to happen. But he's not saying, because he's saying it's written, but he's not saying that I'm not responsible.
We need to believe this to be a Muslim.
Yes,
believe
we
in
have
the
to
good
believe in
and the
that.
bad of Qadr.
Yes, we believe. Shall
Blame
we?
has got to do with who's
Sorry.
accountable and who's responsible. That's
No,
why
we believe
he's
in
accounting
good,
blame.
good, good.
He's saying, why are you
We,
blaming me?
we believe in predestination, the good and evil, and the bad.
Predestination.
Yes.
Serious, I wanted to ask another question.
Okay.
To be honest,
No. Sorry. Can I go back to Timothy's
okay, so
point?
go.
So you simulate. So I'm going to simulate the example you gave from the Hadith about adultery writing 10 times with Adam.
Okay.
The fact that in the Hadith it mentions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already fixed for this person to commit adultery. Okay. Now you know from the Qur'an and the Sunnah that God told us not to do it. God commanded us not to commit adultery. Correct?
From what I know.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So let me simulate that into the story
Actually,
of Adam.
Actually, can I say one thing?
Sorry, can I complete?
No, please. You said about adultery.
Okay.
Technically speaking, that's not true.
Well, we're not being told not to commit adultery.
No, because according to I'm not going to change the subject, but according to Surah 4:24, it allows you to have sex or to marry those in your possession.
No, but that's your definition of
Hold
adultery.
on, hold on.
No.
Hold
One
on.
second.
Yeah,
One
but
second.
definitions are important.
Wait, one
Definitions
second.
are
No.
important. They're
Timothy.
already married.
Timothy, no, we're not
and
going.
you're allowed to marry them.
Okay,
That's adultery.
Right. That's your. That's.
That's
It doesn't matter.
That's universally understood as
That's
adultery.
okay. That's your understanding.
So I have to point that out.
But it's not.
Technically,
Okay,
talk
no
about
problem.
another sin maybe,
It's okay.
that's
It's
fine,
okay.
but I
But
can't
you
give
brought
you
up
that.
adultery.
Can we
So the
close and
point-
do
yeah.
2-minute
So I'm saying.
intervention?
So you said.
okay?
You said that. Yeah. Of course. You
I need to
said.
get something to
Yeah.
eat, man.
Yeah.
Likewise, Raihan.
Yeah. Sure. You said that Allah fixed for this person to commit adultery, whatever, 10 times,
say,
right?
yeah.
And it's written down, right? Therefore, God determined, and therefore you're not. Therefore, you are not to be blamed. Okay. Whereas you believe in the story of Adam, that Adam was commanded not to eat from this tree, but because he went against the will of God, he died, obviously spiritually, yeah? So he got physically. Okay, fine, physically.
that's
Okay,
something
no
we
problem,
should
no
bear in
problem.
mind.
Right. And the reason why God punished Adam is because Adam was aware of God commanding him not to go from this tree. I'm saying it's exactly the same with the Hadith, because God commanded us not to commit adultery, but because he determined for this person to commit adultery, and he knew from his knowledge, it's written down.
Do you see
So
how
there's
you said determined
there's
and
no,
know?
there's no,
Do you
there's no,
see that?
there's no
No,
contradiction.
but you see that.
there.
You're
That's the problem there.
conflating knowledge and determination. You're putting them together. You said he knew, Allah knew, and also determined.
That's determined.
No, but why are you saying two separate words?
Do you know what determined means?
Do you? Because you're
Yeah.
using them the same
I
way.
know what determined means.
What's the difference between determine? In what you said, you said just now.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the determination and the knowledge?
Okay, knowledge is possessing information.
Determination is
determining meaning measured.
what?
Absolute measure, like in its fixed measurement.
Cause to occur in a particular
I don't
way.
go by Google definition.
Okay, so then tell me what.
So the point is, wait, one second. I'm saying not. I'm saying determine. Wait, one second. I'm saying determination means it's fixed.
We're back to
It
fixed.
says cause to occur in a particular
I don't
way
agree
or
with
to have a
dictionary.
particular nature.
We have our own Islamic definition.
Okay, but what
And is so sorry. So
word do you use for causing something?
Yeah.
You don't use determine.
Yeah, we use Qadr. Qadr meaning.
I'm so sorry.
Me-
We're wrapping up.
no, what I wanted to clarify
Qadr means it's pre-measured.
is what is
in
what
its exact
wait,
measurement.
is what Allah
to fix conclusively.
yeah. So
to
is what
fix.
Allah determines, is that fixed?
Yes.
Is His knowledge fixed?
Yes.
What's the difference?
There is no difference. That's my whole point.
That's,
Why?
That's the
no,
problem.
but
There's
you
a
agree.
difference.
You agree that God's knowledge is fixed. So He's determined
I'm
it.
saying he's all
So He's
knowing.
determined. So
He's
He's
all
determined.
knowing.
But He's determined.
Bro, I've given my explanation about.
Do you know what? Fixed
Raihan,
and
I've given my
determination are
explanation about
synonymous.
3 times.
Fixed and determination is synonymous.
I've given my explanation.
So then
about
why don't
3
you
times.
say that Allah determines you to sin?
Yeah.
So then you can't blame. Then you can't say that. There's, if, for example,
But you said,
wait, hold on a
why
second.
should
Hold on.
why should Adam be blamed then?
Hold
Why
on.
should Adam be blamed if God determined?
No, we're not
But
going.
you
That's
say
what you
say.
no,
We don't
no,
believe that, bro.
no,
We don't-
because
yeah.
because what
We
you're
don't
doing is
believe
what
that.
you're doing is in the Qur'an you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Adam not to eat from this tree. So he was commanded, just
I
like
don't know the Quranic version.
right. Then that's the problem. Then that's the problem.
Fine. No, that's
Sorry,
fine.
that's
The
the
problem
problem.
is
then.
not the same.
Problem. I'm
The-
using
at the
my
same-
own example from my scriptures. You know, so
I think
let
what
me-
you're doing is isolation.
I'm not. I do. Wait.
No,
don't
there's no
accuse
problems.
me.
It's
Wait.
our
Don't
beliefs. There's no
problems.
Don't
There's no
say I'm
problem.
in isolation.
You don't have to agree with us.
Yeah, you have to agree.
What I'm saying is this, simply put, right? Is that, and I'll say it. The last thing I'll say, right? And then you can say whatever you need to say.
Okay, no
and
problem.
whatever.
Then we'll wrap it
Right?
up.
I'm saying, according to our understanding, right?
Sorry.
It makes sense for someone to be judged and them to be held accountable for their actions because they've been told,
100%.
right, not to do something.
Not
And-
determined to
and
do something.
However, if I was going within your paradigm, right,
yeah.
and it was, and I sinned, I went against the legislative things, right, but I know that whatever I do has been determined by Allah, then how can I go against Allah's determination? Whatever He
But you're not going against
Hold on a
Allah's
sec-
determination.
Hold on.
That's my point.
If Allah has predestined that these things I will do,
Yeah,
right, then I will do it. Right? That's going
Is that
to
what
happen.
Adam said? Is that what Adam said?
No, I'm talking from your perspective.
No, we believe in Adam.
No,
He was-
hear me,
you don't know the
hear me.
Quranic version.
It's not about
according
the
to you.
Quranic version, bro.
You just said
it's
it.
Not about the Quranic.
Should I bring up Surah
One
Al-Baqarah?
second.
It's
One
exactly.
second. My example
My
was
friend, it's in the Quran.
the point is that
Allah commanded him not to go from this tree.
The example that I gave.
It's exactly the same.
Raihan, the example I gave earlier was this: if Allah has determined that I'm going to commit adultery 5 times,
Yes.
it doesn't matter if I hear Allah's words on it or
escape it.
not. I can't escape it. It's fixed. I will do it.
Could
and then
Adam-
when it comes
could
to
Adam-
judgment day,
could Adam-
wait, I want to
Oh,
land
okay,
now,
go on,
please.
go on, go on.
When it comes to judgment day, I'll look at Allah and say, "Hey, this is how you made me. You fixed it."
Okay.
How can you even
Hold
be
me
a fair
accountable.
judge?
Yeah, how can you hold me
Okay.
accountable?
Now,
This is a big problem.
Timothy,
this
because
is a
you-
huge problem.
because you're not aware about the story of Adam in the Quran.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter.
Address this scenario. Address this
Okay,
scenario.
I'll
It
address you. No
doesn't
problem.
matter.
No
Come on,
problem.
bro.
I'll address you.
No,
I'll address you. I'll address you, Timothy. If we agree that Allah's knowledge is fixed means determination. So you agree? It's just semantics.
Excuse me.
I made my point. I made my point very clear. I made my point very.
What does determination mean?
I went to the dictionary definition.
What does it mean?
And you
denied-
rejected that.
Conclusive.
You
So
rejected it.
God concluded that Adam
rejected
committed
the
the sin,
definition.
will
You-
commit the
you
sin.
rejected
God
the
knew
definitions.
that Adam would commit the sin, correct?
I can come in here, please. Just
If,
for a second. Give me
sorry,
a
one second. God created Adam, correct? God created the nature of Adam. God created the soul of Adam.
Give me 30
So
seconds.
couldn't God? So if Adam committed sin, then by logic and rationality, God must have created his sin.
Yeah, you're correct. Okay.
But
here's
he
the
disagrees,
problem.
but he
I know, I
disagrees.
don't.
So he's coming from a different perspective.
No, I'm trying to come
Okay,
at
Timothy,
round it
that's
up.
pretty good.
Really
Yeah,
good
that's
to
pretty
see
good.
you.
from a logical
You make your point.
Yeah,
Go on.
good
from a
talking to you,
logical
man. Yeah.
perspective.
Go on, go on.
Ollie, wait and hear this. It's
No,
important.
because what's going to happen is
All right,
they're
yeah.
going to put on the,
I'm gonna
they're
go.
gonna put
I'm
on
gonna
the cameras that
Tony,
we're all Christians.
you can say to the
And you're
cameras.
going to have
I'm
it.
not-
I really have to go. I really have to go,
Right.
Tony. I really have to go.
Have you got 1 minute?
Okay,
Can we take
1 minute.
You have 1 minute.
Hold on. Wes, we can speak later. Next
You
week. Don't
guys
worry.
missed the key word in your discussion.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. It's a good debate. Good debate. Good
You missed the
debate.
key word in your discussion.
What's my keyword?
Your key word was you're a compatibilist.
I said that right from the beginning.
Okay, they didn't discuss that. They should have. You're a compatibilist.
They don't allow me. They don't allow me.
Why did you guys spend all this time talking when you're
Because
clearly
they
talking back
keep interjecting.
I do understand this is a very complicated